You're live.
All right. Well, good morning. We are here on Coffee and Connect with Stephanie Lueras from Heart and Soul Fitness and Wellness. I've got Denise O'Malley, the founder of You Define Wellness, with me this morning. And in the video description, I do have the link if you'd like to come join us live on chat here in the conversation in the Zoom room. But today we're talking about the barriers that hold us back from getting involved in movement. And there's a lot of different things that hold us back from either getting started, getting consistent, or continuing on, or even trying something new. So Denise, I'm curious, what is your history with movement?
Well, I think this is an excellent topic for me today because barriers is a good word. My history in movement is stops and starts, lots of spurts. Greatest of enthusiasm, join a gym, go on a regular basis, get involved, get it done. And then I stopped going for whatever reasons. It just, I'm busy today. I'll go tomorrow. Tomorrow hits. Too many things going on. I'll just catch up tomorrow. And so tomorrow never happens. Tomorrow just keeps getting pushed off. And so at some point in time, it becomes where I'm looking at it and it feels like it's an insurmountable obstacle to crawl up because I've let it go too long. And it's not that I don't like working out. I actually do. I just don't like working out by myself. There's a lot of it. And so I don't. And I've been trying to integrate in little things like taking the dog for a longer walk or doing push-ups on my stairs because I can't do it on the floor. It's little things, but it's not fun.
Oh, I'm with you there. And so first I want to say you are not alone. You are welcome to the human race in these stops and starts, because I think that you identify with the majority of people. We start out with the best of intentions. For whatever reason, we've made the decision that I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to start exercising, I'm going to get physical, get moving for insert whatever reason here. And we might go for a little while, it might be great, and then we stop. And then it gets easier and easier and easier not to show up.
Absolutely.
And it's our nature. However, there's a lot of ways that we can start to combat that. And even as you were talking, you hit a lot of key things that we can build on, that we can start to look at in one, making movement fun, because if it's fun, we're gonna show up. And adapting movement so that it is something we can do, so that it is fun, so that it isn't painful, so that we're not sore, so that it doesn't start that, I'm going to rest today, I'm going to rest again, and not continue to show up. So there's a lot of things that we can do to start to build consistency so that we start to show up for whatever that reason was that we said, yes, I'm gonna go. And the first thing is, you've made the decision. I'm gonna go. But even deeper than that is why. Yes, I am going to get active. I am going to lose weight. I'm going to get fit. I'm going to fit into these clothes. But ask yourself why. Why are we doing these things? Because if we go just a little bit deeper than that, there's usually something within that where we can say, hey, you know, I want to be able to do this, or I want to do that. I can get on the floor with my kids. I can keep up with my grandkids. Some people, I've had people of several different age groups say, I want to be able to go around Disneyland for a day.
Oh, yeah.
And that takes a lot of stamina. And so keeping something like that in our mind is so important, because that's what's going to help us for the long term. But instead of getting up and going to the gym every day, we need to back up and start a little bit smaller. We need to start with maybe just putting the shoes by the door. And I'm going to put the shoes on and walk to the mailbox. Or like you said, I'm just going to walk the dog a few minutes longer. The dog, I'm sure, thinks it's the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, she's happy.
And, you know, so you start just making that habit just a little bit longer, a little bit longer. The push-ups on the stairs is a great thing, because you're starting to take that upward angle and pushing it just a little bit further down. Before you know it, you can go down a step, go down a step, go down a step. You're building that strength. And so those are things that we start to build on in adaptability. And we don't give ourselves enough credit when we do those things, because 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes add up over time. We think that if we didn't get into the car and go do the 60 minutes, that it doesn't count. But there's a cumulative effect to the 5 minutes here, the 5 minutes here, the 5 minutes here. Now, is there a cardiovascular benefit to a whole workout of 15, 20, 30 minutes? Absolutely. You know, we know that having those longer workouts a couple times a week, there is a cardiovascular benefit. It's absolutely recommended. But we work up to that point. That's something to look at down the road. But just those little bits that we start to add up to, those have a really big snowball effect. We're building strength. We're building consistency. We're putting that habit in place. Because when we look at it, 5 minutes, 6 days a week, that's a 30-minute workout. That's 30 minutes we've spent improving ourselves. And who doesn't have 5 minutes attached to washing the dishes? I have ladies that come to some of my group fitness classes that they take some of the harder moves that we do for balance. And when they wash the dishes, they hold on to the edge of the sink at the end and practice those movements, because they know this is what improves their balance. And so when they come to class, then they don't have to hold on to the chair or hold on to the wall. They've improved that stability because they've practiced and practiced and practiced by anchoring that habit to something they're already doing. So I see the wheels turning in your mind. So what are some thoughts that you have?
Well, you know, my biggest thing is I out of sight, out of mind. And, you know, I don't think about it. And It sounds kind of hokey, but what's going through my mind right now is posting little signs for now, next to the stairs. Okay, before you're able to walk up these stairs to go get that next cup of coffee that you really have your mindset on, you got to do 10 push-ups on the stairs.
I love that idea. I am all about the Post-it notes.
And sometimes we need it.
It's not a hokey idea, because eventually that's going to start to become something that's an automatic motion. Is when I'm coming up the stairs, I stop and do this motion. There's someone in my coaching program that every time she gets up to use the restroom, she does 10 squats. Before she comes back to sit down at her desk, she does 10 squats. So there's something that she started in building that consistency is when I get up, do this motion, this is what happens. And so it just becomes that repetitive thing. And so for her, that was important to her because she had a lot of hip problems. She had a lot of stiffness in her hips. She seated a lot because of the work that she does. And so just by getting up, because, you go to the bathroom and having that extra movement through the day, she found that she got more mobility. She got that greater strength in her legs, and a lot of her hip pain started to go away. So like you said, when I go upstairs to get my coffee, that's an extra movement that I can put in.
It's not going to take any extra time.
Right.
Awesome. Notes going up today.
There you go. I love it. That's an instant action that we can take. And even when we start to look at putting in greater exercise through the day, we look at what is our schedule through the day. What is that routine that we have that has a natural flow? Many of us have a morning or an evening practice that we already engage in. So is there something in our morning practice that natural movement would come into? Maybe it is we get up and have some quiet time, and that's then when you go and walk the dog. Well, maybe after you walk the dog, then it's a perfect time to add in some stretching and strength type exercises for a consistent amount of time, for a concentrated amount of time. And so you actually make that appointment with yourself. We've heard it before that we schedule things on the calendar that are important to ourselves, so that, you put that first, we schedule the 5 minutes, then move it up to a 15-minute block. And so even if we don't do it, we see it on the calendar and it starts to trigger in our mind. I recently went through this on my calendar myself. I've gotten into the poor habit of not stopping for lunch and just working straight through the day. So on my Google Calendar, it's bright red. Nothing else is in a bright color, but bright red. It is blocked out. Nobody can even schedule during that time anymore. And it's time for me to stop for lunch. Now, do I actually stop and have lunch every day? I'm not to that point, but I'm getting better at it. Yeah. Most days I'll stop and at least make sure my water's filled and grab a snack. And most days I at least get something to eat and check in with myself. So it's a habit that's improving and making sure that I'm nourished, because I'm busy and active throughout the day. And if I'm not taking in food, I'm not at the top of my game. And then the afternoon, I'm not focused. Right. So we make that time for ourselves, see it, and start to build from there.
Great tips.
Yes. All right. So any other questions, comments on this, pulling out the barriers on really getting started with movement?
I don't know that I have any questions. I mean, I just love the fact that one of the things that you implied, if nothing else, because I told you I don't like doing it alone, is that we got to learn to do it with ourselves. That's
Mhm.
our buddy initially, because that's who, we live in this body. We got to make friends with it, and that you can't make it an excuse, and just do a little bit more. And who knows, I can put out something in my townhouse complex and say, is anybody else interested in walking in the complex with me? You
Absolutely.
never know. And I bet there are other people who are in their homes wishing they had somebody to go do a walk with.
Yep. And there are apps out there like Nextdoor
Mhm.
where, in your general area,
Yeah.
there are things that you can communicate with people in your general neighborhood
Mhm.
and start to get together with people that live in your however mile radius,
Mhm.
and you'll start to see, what's the interest in my area.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea, and it's something I can do easily.
Excellent. All right. Well, we keep it short and sweet around here, so we will be back next Monday at 10 a.m. Arizona time, and we will see what next week's topics bring. I haven't looked at the calendar and seen what is top of mind, but I'm sure it'll be exciting. And I thank you, Denise, for joining me.
Thanks for doing this, Stephanie. This is great.
Thank you.